Hey mathematicians, let's do your homework. All right, so number one is talking about variability. Variability is when you ask a question and you could have more than one true answer. And you're like, oh, it kind of depends. Like if we're talking about Tuesday or we're talking about Friday, because my answers might be different depending on the day, or your answers are different depending on the person you ask. I have one sibling, you've got 4 siblings. Our answers are different. Versus without variability, where there's either only one true answer or everybody's answer is the same. So like if I said, what grade are you in? We're all going to say 6th grade. So that's without variability because there's really only one right answer. If you're in my classroom and I'm asking you that, you're in 6th grade. So we are looking for that type of thing because we're looking for data without variability. So like not I don't know, I need more information to answer it. What are you talking about? Like a specific, this is the answer and there's only one right answer. So looking at A, how many students are in our class today, January 27th, 2014? Obviously that's not today. I don't know. I wasn't a teacher in 2014. I was in college. But if we're talking about Mrs. Smith in her 5th period class, getting specific on an exact day, Mrs. Smith could go back and look up her attendance records. Is there one answer for how many kids were in the class? Or are we being like, oh, in 5th period, there were 7. No, there were 9. No, there were 22. No, there were... I don't know. Which one is it? Versus like a question like B, how many students are in your class each day? I don't know. Today we had high attendance. On days when it rains, we usually have lower attendance. It depends on the day. So this is our answer because it's specifically like, there's one answer, even if we don't know what that one answer is. Versus B, C, and D, where you're like, well, on Tuesday, the answer was this, but on Friday, the answer was something different. Number 2, the sum, that means you're adding, of a number, x, and 13, so x and 13, equals 8. Solve for x, and then whichever number in the number line has the dot on your answer for x, that's what you're picking. What's the value of 40 minus 52? Add them, subtract them, do whatever you need to do with those integers. Lenny could only finish 3/4 of his math test before time ran out. The test had 36 questions. How many questions did Lenny answer before time ran out? So 3/4 represents a part out of a whole. So for every 4 questions that were on the test, he was able to answer 3 of them. You need to decide, is 36 the part that he answered or the total number of questions on the test? Because if it's the part that he answered, you're going to write it on the top. And if it's the total number of questions on the test, you're going to write it on the bottom. And then wherever you put it, you're going to find a scale factor and figure out what the missing number is. The dot graph or dot plot or line plot shows the number of different colored marbles in a bag. According to the dot plot, what percent of the candies? You can tell this was pieced together from 2 different types of questions. We've got marbles in a bag and we've got candies. Don't eat marbles. That's dangerous. Whatever we're calling them, I'm going to call them marbles since the graph says marbles. What percent of the marbles are yellow? So the part out of the total, scale it up. All percents are out of 100. And last but not least, which decimal is equivalent to 24/5? Now looking at that, I know that is an improper fraction because my numerator, my top number, is bigger than my denominator, my bottom number, which means I'm looking for an answer that is bigger than 1 whole. So immediately I can eliminate B because that says 0 and a little bit, not even 1 and a little bit. A says 4 and a little bit, C says 2 and a little bit, D says 5 and a little bit. Those are all over 1, so they're all still possibilities. And you can figure out which one it is by doing numerator divided by denominator. And now you're done with your homework.